Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
While we wait for Josh to join, I can do a little bit of the intro and talk a little bit about some cards I picked up. 239 says, are you guys going to the National? Yeah, we will be there. And we'll be set up with a booth. So let me get the show rolling while we await Josh to join. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Crossover. Today is Friday, July 12th. And we always kick the show off with mail days and announcements. Don't have any card letter announcements, but I do have 2 of the 3 mail days that I teased last week. So let me show those. Here's the first. This is the 2023-24 Optic Gold Vinyl. Luka Doncic, 1 of 1. Won that in an eBay auction. And I was pretty happy that it went low. And then the other card that I have here is, I believe this is 2023-24 Recon. Yep. The base set Hollow Platinum 1 of 1 for Jokic. And this is a 1 of 1 of 1. Because not only is it a 1 of 1, but it's the only 1 of 1. So 2 nice little pickups there for me from this week, mail days. Happy about those. And let me check with Christina to see if we have any mail days. I mean, any announcements to talk about.
Trade night on Friday.
Okay, we do have an announcement. So if you will be at the National, we have a trade night that we are co-hosting with Women of the Hobby.
Women in the Hobby.
Sorry, Women in the Hobby. I always make that mistake. Women in the Hobby.
Yep, that's on Friday night.
On Friday night, Ty of Bullpen
We'll be there.
will be there.
We will be there.
We will be there.
Lots of people who attended the show will be there.
Lots of people will be there. This is in the basement of the
Yes.
convention center.
Immediately following the National show hours.
Soon as the show closes on Friday.
Yeah.
Come on down to the basement, the dungeon, if you will.
Yes.
And there will be a trade night down there.
Yes.
All right.
We also have a booth at the National.
Yeah, we have a booth. We have a booth in the basement as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
But our booth for the National is right across from the main stage.
Right.
So everyone come listen to Breakers scream with us.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Perimeter. Thank you for that. Can we live stream for those who can't make it? No. Is this live? It may be. Shout out to Rip and Liss, the greatest breaker in the business. Mohammed says, will Stiff be there? Because that's a deal breaker for me. You know, Stiff will be at the National, but I cannot promise he will be at the trade night. All right. I would really hate to get to some questions without Josh, but
Jose is saying that
the show must go on.
Lime Green out of 5. If it's not at the National, it doesn't exist.
There's a question about the myth that if a card exists. Here's Josh. There's a question that if it's a myth or not, whether if a card is not at the National, it doesn't exist. What's up, Josh?
Dude, I've been here. I was like, are you going live? Like, my phone didn't say you were live. I never got a notification.
No.
And then I went.
I had to unblock you really quick. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
We're good now. We're good now. All right. I introduced a little bit of the show. I showed 2 mail days.
Wow.
They were posted to my story, so nothing.
Okay. This is the Luka Optic Vinyl.
Yep, Luka Optic Gold Vinyl. Jokic Recon 1 of 1. Dude,
you're making us all numb to your 1 of 1s. We're like, oh, another one. I thought you already had that one.
Don't worry. There's a question. Not happy with 1 of 1s.
There's a question. Not happy with one of ones?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, we'll get to it. How's the? Christina and I are back in Illinois. We're enjoying 80 degree, 85-degree temperature in the summer. How about you?
Today was the peak of it, and then hopefully it's down from here. But today was 115. So,
That amuses me.
yeah, I'm glad that me being stuck inside of you literally can't go outside.
Yeah,
that's why we fled north.
Right. We abandoned a bit of our own hate. Do you have any mail days to share this week? Nope. And any announcements? Any card letter related announcements? All right.
No. Nope.
All right. So I was able to break this week's questions into 3 separate topics and then the general topic. And the first topic that we have is the National. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 questions together because one answered the other. What are we doing here? Would like to know how many days until the Nationals, and make sure to pronounce it with the S. And then Drake's PC says the Nationals starts in 12 days. Will you be doing a preview or giving tips specific to Cleveland?
The more people ask for the tips, the less likely we are to do it.
I've got a few tips.
Okay.
I actually jotted a few down. I've racked my brain thinking of what I could say on this topic for weeks. And the first tip is wear comfy shoes.
Weeks, you said?
Yeah, I've been refining this. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, cell phone chargers. Make sure you have a way to charge yourself, or don't, because you can come to our booth and get one.
And come to our booth located across from the main stage at the Case Break Pavilion, and you can charge your phone and take a seat, because we'll have seats for people to sit down. The floor gets mighty tiring if you're not wearing comfortable shoes. So come sit down, charge your phone, chat about cards with some other like-minded individuals, and then go back to your hunts.
All right.
That felt like a setup. That was well done. That's marketing right there. You've learned.
That's excellent. Christina, you will not get a pay decrease.
I don't.
Good job.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Next question we have here from Zona Sports AZ. California has 40 million people, and their pocketbooks make Cleveland look like a third world nation. So why the heck has there not been a national in almost 20 years in California?
Their population is 39 million. So nice try.
Yep, round it up. We don't like rounded up.
So they just got 1 million people. Maybe that's the 1 million people that left for Texas, according to YouTube.
And we're way over in Illinois. We technically are not part of that demographic.
I think, you guys were in California for a while. What's going on?
Yeah, we were. The pocketbooks were too fat. We had to relocate. No, the Southern California sports card scene was pretty nice. We were out there before COVID, before 2017, 2018, 2019, and it's a great scene. Great card shops down there. I think it'd be an excellent destination, especially if you could put it somewhere near or on the water. I think that'd be amazing.
Isn't there like a rotation agreement built in with the people that run the National where it like has to be at Cleveland, Chicago, Atlantic City over and over? Like some sort of deal they have with the convention centers or something?
Yeah, last I've heard, the next 3 are going to be in Chicago.
Yeah.
Wow. 3?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So, all right. So there's that's not a very satisfying answer, but there's your answer from Goudy Gum. Yeah, I have no idea how to answer this. The question is, what is the appropriate finder's fee to charge someone who is not at the National?
Oh, like you find something for them? I usually go by 5%.
Okay.
Just because, like, some people might want to do like a flat $100 or something, but what if it's like a really expensive card and you got to like figure out how to ship it to them and the stress of that? So I usually just go for like a 5% just to keep it easy. What do you think?
I agree. I think that when it comes to finder's fees, a lot gets glossed over. when people think about a finder's fee, they just say, "Oh, what did you do? You just found a card." But no, there's more to. There's the logistics of shipping it. There's the inconvenience of extra money coming into and then leaving your account. There is a level of just coordination and trust required to execute something like that. And then it's also obviously taking time out of that person's day when they could be, doing something else to do that. So there is value in in what a finder's fee pays for. Ideally, the buyer will
Offer.
Yeah, right. Because I think it gets pretty awkward pretty quickly if the person who's finding it has to say, "I found your card, but but I'm gonna need." And I would say this to somebody who, even like I had a few people reply to this question. Were like, "Well, I would do it for free." Like, what do you mean? And I just caution that mindset because it is great to do it out of generosity, but just bear in mind that there are going to be some risks that you take on if you're the person who's shipping the card or you're the person who's responsible for making the deal. You're handing off cash and you're trusting that the person's going to deliver the card. There's just a bit of risk that you take on. So it's great if you do it as a courtesy or for free. And what a wonderful situation if that was always the case. But it is a valuable service. Now, in terms of the amount, 5%, seems okay. If you're getting into like the $20,000 card range,
Yeah.
Starting to get up there a little bit.
Right. Maybe like a max, maybe with a cap.
Yeah. 5% with a cap.
Yeah. I thought of some other thought that sparked this at the National. It's like the most hectic, chaotic, distracted, busy week of our lives.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind when you're like, how did you not get that for me? Like, what happened? I thought it's like, it's really easy to say that when you're not there, but when you're there, it's absolute mayhem. And I wasn't there last year, so I've seen both sides of it. Like, even just messaging you guys, it's like, yeah, you're gonna take 3 hours to respond. I know why, because when I'm there, it's like you forget the text. You're being distracted over here by this booth or this person you haven't talked to, and then you got to go run across to go pick up this car. It's a lot. So have some empathy for the folks trying to help you out.
Well said. Few comments have alluded to this as well. There's a few things I didn't touch on too. You may be if you're buying a card on behalf of somebody, you may be floating money for a period of time,
right.
Which can be a little bit of a hassle potentially. And then there's also the fact that in addition to having to ship and handle the logistics of delivering the card, you also will have to guard it and safekeep it for a day, multiple days, a week, depending upon how quickly you can ship it out. And like, are you gonna? If you buy it on Wednesday, are you gonna go ship it on Thursday and miss half the National? Like, no, I don't. So there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into that people don't think about.
We have so much to think about already at National. It's just another thing. Like in a vacuum, it's super easy if you think about it. Like, yeah, just grab the card and ship it. But on top of everything else that's going on, it's just another thing you have to remember. And you're trying to be respectful and not lose it, take care of it, but you're just like your brain's everywhere.
Exactly. All right, from 740 Smith Cards, please discuss the myth that everything you want will be at the National.
Yeah, false.
Yeah, it's like absolutely not at the National.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to like walk and look at dealer showcases and stuff, but like I'm always surprised by the amount of cards I don't see out. And a lot of times like the best cards that you'll see out are not for sale. They're just being displayed.
Yeah, I would say if you're on Instagram a lot and on eBay a lot, you're going to recognize cards. You're like, oh, I've seen this on a page, and then you kind of like see their whole showcase. And if you go to the Dallas card show and you go to these other ones, you'll probably see a lot of the same dealers.
Yep. And if you do happen to find a card you're looking for, it's sometimes it can be even more expensive when you happen to find it at the National. People are looking to cover the cost of their flights or their tables and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. From 90s B-ball cards, Do you think there will be more or less cringy content flooding our feeds from the National?
Well, since I'm going to be there this year, there's going to be way less because I'm not going to be on my phone. You have another.
Yeah.
You have another question of like, what do I do about FOMO?
Yep.
I got the best answer.
Let's go to that one. That's also from Jake. What are some of the best ways to manage FOMO for those of us not going to the National?
Just watch all those accounts he referenced in the previous question and rage on it, and just know that you're not there to witness the horde in person.
Yeah. Good advice. All right.
That's our pivot. Like if you want, like, you sell a card, you gotta immediately hate that card.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Just think to yourself about how stupid it is. We're just a bunch of people gathered in this sweaty convention center, just bumping into each other, trading diseases, and be glad you're not there.
Last year was hot, right? That was the big problem.
That was a problem. Yeah, or just be glad that, for example, Jake, that you don't have to sit at the card lighter booth this year and have the main stage speaker blaring. You don't have to deal with that.
You know what we should hand out instead of phone chargers? Over the ear noise canceling headphones.
Yeah. Those are actually really expensive. I looked into it.
Oh, of course you. Dang it! She's always beats me with the ideas.
Yeah, we could just do little earplugs too.
Yeah, just do like the little squishy ones.
Should we get them in green?
Card lighter branded.
Have you ever?
I don't know.
Have you ever been to like a drag race or like a race car type event? Yeah. They give you those things, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
That'd be pretty funny handout.
Yeah, it'd be practical. All right.
Is that Christina order these now?
Well, it's probably too late.
I can get them delivered.
Well, take a look at it. All right.
Let me call my guy.
Next,
oh my God.
Next topic cluster here. Michael Jordan 1986 Fleer autographs. And we're going to start with a two-parter. I'll read part one, and then I'll pause, and we can respond, and then I'll read part two. So this is from TJ is Online. We know at least 3 of the 6 dual-graded PSA 1010 86 Fleer MJs appear not to be mint. I don't personally know that. I'm not a guy who can eyeball a scan of a card and distinguish, a 9 from 10. But this is the author saying this, the author of the question. So I'm not agreeing, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not the one to comment on that. It says 3 cards appear to have corner wear caused by storage in old screw-down cases. It was also reported PSA was flown in to witness the slab cracking and signing. So here's the first question. Is it fair at least 3 of these 6 old certs kept the mint card grades? The PSA 1010 dual grade population report jumped from 0 to 6 with this signing. I would understand if any of the 910 or 99 owners are upset as their cards were leapfrogged, maybe unfairly.
Yeah, he sent me some close-ups of it.
Okay.
I get what he's saying. Like, there's some whitening and stuff. My thought on this one was PSA was not in a rush to be like, actually, let's change our own grades, even though the card hasn't changed. I mean, they probably flew in the PSA person to like make sure MJ didn't like scuff up the card and like add something to it. It is pretty risky to like crack it, have a 200-pound guy sign it with his hands and like hope it doesn't go from a 10 to a 9. That seems risky, but I just imagine PSA is not in a rush to be like, actually, let's lower the grade that we gave.
Yeah. I think a related question, a different way to think about it, is if we grant the assumption that nothing happened to the cards to hurt them,
right?
But it appears that maybe they were overgraded in the first place. What should be the ensuing result in that scenario? And I think the ensuing result is that or the process that would need to be followed is first the person who owns them would give the 3 of questionable condition to PSA for a review. And if PSA determined that they were overgraded, then they qualify for the guarantee, assuming that this person was not the original submitter, because the original submitter is exempt from the guarantee. So I think that's how that would work. And I do wonder if the original submitter did, in fact, because my understanding is this person has over 30 PSA 10s.
Yeah.
I would presume that they asked PSA to look at them and say, do you stand by the grade? And if not, then can we invoke the insurance or the guarantee clause? And if you do, then let's take great care of these cards when they're outside of the capsule, so that we can put them back in and not cause any damage to them. That's just a guess as to how that might have played out.
Yeah, that's a good technical walkthrough of what happened.
Yeah, it's my guess. I don't know, but all right. And then here's the I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, if you got more questions, we'll keep going.
There is a part 2. Yeah, there's a part 2 from TJ, which is, I doubt many of PSA's other customers get the opportunity of automatically carrying over precious card grades when getting them signed. People like us are forced to get the card regraded and risk the chance at getting lower grades, such as when Kareem had his signing at last year's National. I guess it's good to be rich enough to fly the PSA reps in for signings and arrange to keep the same grades. Thanks, folks, and great work on the show, plus the Card Letter app.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part that nobody likes about this story, right?
Yep, and it's understandable.
Did you read this is what I was going to ask. Did you read the PSA Magazine article about it?
I did.
It's like they met on a golf course just to make it even more elitist.
Yeah. Yep, just to further put out of reach the idea that this could happen to anybody.
Yeah, I was like, man, you should have rolled your yacht onto the lake up against the golf course. That would have just made it even better.
Yeah, my private jet and MJ's private jet were fueling at the same station.
The part that made me laugh the most was like, people are like, MJ absolutely never signs ever. He wouldn't sign for his mother if she asked for a private signing. Yet somehow he does a private signing for a golf friend or something. So he does. It's not that hard.
Oh yeah. Yep. This ain't gonna be the last one either.
Exactly. He's like, so wait a minute. I signed these 6 cards and they were worth $200,000, and now the guy's got an offer for $100 million, and I'm in control of this. Yeah, let's figure this out.
Yep. And I think a fair concern here is, how does somebody else get access to a service like this if they'd like it? And so perhaps, there has to be a first time for everything. And so, perhaps this was the first time such a service was ever requested, and PSA accommodated it. And now, as a byproduct of this, they tried it out. They figured out what fee should be charged for such a service. And now maybe they will make the service available to others if they inquire, or maybe they'll make it publicly available. But I would have to imagine that such a service is going to be very expensive. So I don't know practically how much good that would do. Yeah.
Is this just
Can
like
a PSA rep come with me to a Luka Mavericks home game while I lean over the rail and get him to sign something?
Is this like just another nail in the coffin of like cards being way better than memorabilia? This is like, if this is memorabilia. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Cards are an equally distributed, random luck of the draw. You get a chance to own Wembanyama's Prism Black, and with some, like, obviously it takes some luck and you gotta probably get it in a break, but there is a reasonable chance that you could get it in a box. Whereas this, impossible for 99.99999%. It's not even possible, and it's just straight memorabilia. You're taking like a piece of paper and getting it signed by MJ. You've converted it to memorabilia. This is not cards. It's not within the rules of how cards work. It's the lottery system of cards and packs and everything. It's gone. You're now in a different world.
Yes, completely agree. These are the one point I'll add, and one of the most convincing reasons why I see these as memorabilia items as opposed to sports cards is that these items cannot be found on any checklist anywhere. There is no checklist in the world that says the 1986 Fleer card number 57 has an autographed version, because it doesn't. It wasn't issued that way in a pack, and these are cards that entrepreneurs, flippers, in many cases take, and they add value to it so that they can extract further value upon the sale of the item, which is fine. People love this stuff, and that's great, but it's not for me. It's just not for me.
Yeah, the checklist is a great point. That's like the delineation, or that's like your technical way to separate the two.
Exactly. Yeah. If the card is on the manufacturer's checklist, then it meets that criterion for inclusion into the actual sports card category. But if you take a card that was on a checklist and then you remove it from the checklist by converting it from a trading card into an autographed card, then that's a new item. That's and the way that we know it's a new item is because the purpose of it is intended to add value. It's not an interchangeable item with another one on the checklist anymore. So, all right.
200 grand to 100 million or whatever. 100 million divided by 6. It's just. Let's show it. I have a picture of it up. We've talked about it a lot. Here they are. You can't, dude. Could you? If I was like, are these cards autographed? Could you even tell?
Yeah, it's tough to see it.
Like, it's just, and I have it on like a pretty decent background here. I've got lighting in this room. Like, it's got the white contrast. It just is like, I don't understand it. This is one of the worst cards you can autograph.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Another 2 more questions on this topic. This one from Fan Tomas for cards. $100 million for the 6 Michael Jordan signed cards. Is this a real bid or just publicity for the owner? And the backstory here is that not the PSA. I don't believe the PSA article mentioned the $100 million offer, but the $100 million offer was mentioned, I think, on the Collectible Guru Twitter account, and the account formerly owned by Eric Whiteback. And I think that account doubled down on it and said, we have it in writing that the owner of these cards has suggested that somebody offered them $100 million for them. Okay, so that's the background.
It was me, you guys. It was me. I offered $100 million.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the owner has apparently circulated amongst at least some people the idea that they received a $100 million offer for these 6 cards. And then the question is this real or is this just publicity?
I don't know. Who knows? No one but the seller will know.
Right. And there's just to like get a little bit granular with this topic, this is what you were hinting at. Anybody can offer anything on any item at any time. But there's nothing yet that says that the offer, even if accepted, would be consummated. So that's the first flaw with using an offer as an indicator of value. There's nothing indicating that the offer would ever be consummated. And an unconsummated offer is hot air. That's number 1. And then number 2, the other issue with an offer, relatedly, is that, well, the seller or the owner didn't accept the offer. So on that level, it didn't get consummated either. So it's just, even if we grant that the offer was legitimately made, a legitimately made offer is not a source of insight into value. It only can become that once it materializes into something substantial. And then you have the additional problem, which is it's very easy to fabricate an offer.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of incentive around fabricating an offer because that fabrication can be used to try and convince somebody else to match that offer. But it also puts the seller in a bind, because if you had $100 million offer on these 6 cards and you don't take it, can you? And then let's say one shows up for auction in a month and it sells for 500,000. You know, I mean, but then we have another problem, which is the seller has insisted on remaining anonymous, or the owner, I should say. Are they a seller? They're taking offers. Are they an owner? They've insisted on remaining anonymous. So we won't even, we have no idea who this is, what their possible motives are. It's tough. Was that? There. Okay, now the offer is legitimate.
100 mil?
Yeah.
That's. Have you seen stuff like that where it's like, I got this offer. Look at this notepad screenshot I got for you. Look, see, look, this guy made the offer.
When the guys just like pass the number across the table,
Yeah.
And they won't say it.
Dude, I bet you nobody's brought this up, but if I were MJ or whatever this, I don't know what the circumstance of the story was, but if I were MJ, I'd be like, if these cards show up for sale somewhere, I'm gonna hunt you down and fucking freak out on you. Because there's no way I'm going through all this if you're just gonna like flip it on some auction site. Like, either I have to be a part of the sale, like I get some sort of ownership stake in these cards or something like that. But if it's like, yeah, these are for my personal collection, MJ. So he probably made it part of the deal where you can't sell these.
Yep.
Okay.
So then,
oh, go ahead.
So then he's like, well, if I can't sell them, then I'll just tell people that I got offered 100 million.
Well, okay. Think about it though. Like, we know what kind of degenerate MJ is. This happened on a golf course. Like, what's the chance that he lost the last round against this guy and a bet, and part of the like cash out on the bet was, why don't you sign these cards for me? I'll fly out a guy and we'll call your bet even, like as long as this guy witnesses that you signed these cards, and then we'll be good.
Yeah. The only way MJ does this is if he loses a bet.
Yeah.
I guess.
Or MJ, in his advanced years, decides he's gonna have a generous streak.
Yeah.
No.
And
Did you
he's
see
just going to
the
start
documentary?
signing things.
The whole documentary is him like throwing shade at guys.
Well, you want to know one way that let's say that your hypothetical is true and that he says, I'm signing these, but only for you. I don't want you to just turn around and sell these right away.
Yeah.
And let's say that the guy does. You want to know what a great way to get back at that guy would be? Sign 10,000 more of them.
Say, everyone with a PSA 10, meet me here.
Yeah.
I'm going to crack all of them.
Yep.
And I'm signing all 300 of them.
Exactly. That would be a nice, gentle get back.
But he doesn't sign ever. That's the problem.
Right. Except for when he does.
Except for when he does.
All right.
MJ on a gender streak. That's funny though. There's no way. That dude is gonna he's gonna be fighting people till the day he dies. He's gonna be like arguing with a nurse in his deathbed, making bets.
Yeah, but MJ never loses, so how could he lose a bet?
Well, he's gonna be like, I bet you I survived the night. And they're gonna be like, I don't know, man. Your blood pressure's pretty high, like your heart, I don't know.
And then his last night is, I bet I won't survive the night, and then he still wins.
Yeah, it's like,
He can read.
he's on the iPad doing the face.
All right, the final question on this topic is from Perimeter Collectibles. Why does the hobby hate fat tip Sharpies? Isn't more ink a good thing?
I love how the outcome of that is like everyone telling what pen they should have used. Like if this was me, I would have done this pen. When the article says that MJ picked the pen.
The article does, okay, I have an opinion on this. All right, so maybe in advance,
It's better be spicy.
Yes, it is a little spicy. Maybe in advance, the owner of these cards as soon as they saw the fat tip blue Sharpie kind of not look great, they, immediately began the the narrative, the propaganda campaign to make sure everybody knows this is Michael Jordan's fault. Or the fault of his team.
Right.
And I can't stand the fact that they threw Michael Jordan under the bus. And he can't defend himself. What's he gonna do? He's gonna get the PSA magazine and say, "Wait a minute, we need a follow up so I can give my side of the story." Actually, the pen was selected.
Yeah.
Look, even if it looks like crap, you don't throw the guy under the bus. You just say, "Oh, yeah, sorry that the pen wasn't what some people wanted." But you don't throw Michael Jordan and his team under the bus. I can't believe that.
Well, here, I got this. This is what they should have done. Hold on. Let me get a good picture here. This is the Stadler, right? Is that what they're called? These are like what you're supposed to use for autographs. And this is a silver one. They should have done silver or white. And it should have been this. Easy peasy.
Nice. Good tip. All right.
It does have a good tip. You're right. The end of the pen has a good firm tip. You're right.
Also, there's a lot of some people are, I think, rightly critiquing that the autographs maybe don't look great, and that's
you can't even see them.
That's a subjective opinion, but I think there is some consensus around that.
He signed a lot of golf course,
But the other thing,
he's like, hold on, mid swing.
But there's also people who either own other Michael Jordan autograph cards, or are concerned that if these ever do come to the market, they're going to come nowhere near the projected values. So there's also people who are trying to downgrade these cards immediately so that it uplifts the ones that they own, or so that if these cards ever sell and they come in low, that well, of course they came in low. The blue Sharpie looks terrible.
They're not even PSA 10s. Look at the whitening.
Right. Exactly. All right.
I have a question. I don't know, maybe the PSA magazine addressed this, but how did they crack them?
How did they crack them?
These were not they're not the new slabs, so they're easy to crack. I don't know. When you send in a card to get reslabbed or crossed over, I think they use a more official machine to crack these out and stuff.
Yeah. What's wrong?
I just don't understand.
I think they saw it off the top and then lift it up.
Yeah, they do. So they brought a saw to the golf course. That's what I mean. How is this cracked on the golf course? And I feel like they should have been looked at again. Once you crack it.
I'm sure they were. They have to look at them again.
Mm-hmm.
Once you crack it and you change the card, they have to regrade it.
Well, plus,
exactly.
Shouldn't it have been labeled altered? Because
this is a topic. This is a real topic.
Or aren't those supposed to be in the blue labels?
No, PSA does the red ones for these PSA dual, the PSA DNA cert. As long as it has the PSA DNA on it, that's the indication that it's a separate pop.
Yeah. Yep. That is an open question of why are these not altered cards.
Can I add though? We do not put these cards into the sales history categorization of if you pull up a PSA 10 cert page for this, it'll take you to the Fleer MJ. But in Card Ladder, we don't link it to the PSA 10 Fleer 80 to 57 card. It's a different card.
Okay.
The feature where it's show me all the cards, all the sales of this card and everything. We don't do that. Yep. You won't see these. You would not see this card show up. It's the same. It's the same as if it's and you pointed this out to me. It's the same as the qualifiers. They're different cards. It's the same grade, same pop report, different card.
Yep. All right. Enough with the MJ Fleer autos. That sure did make a splash, though, and so that's a lot of graphers and flippers' dream is to just get that lottery ticket autograph and get it in that PSA 1010 and send that baby to auction.
It's like the dream scenario played out for all the IP auto people. This is like the ultimate. Get an IP auto of MJ on his rookie in a PSA 10, make it a PSA 1010. This is it.
Okay, so because a part of me, like, all right, I can either be optimistic or I can be cynical. The optimistic side says, hey, this collector got these great cards for their collection and they just wanted to share with the world an amazing story. Or the cynical side of me is like, this is being publicized to a very heavy extent with rumors of $100 million, just ludicrous rumors of offers, because this is a scheme designed to maximize the value of these items before they get listed for sale.
Yeah.
So, and there's no collecting dimension to this. This is simply, I am turning these into pure profit, which is fine, but that just doesn't excite me. That doesn't get the collector juices flowing, and that's why I like cards. That's what I get excited about, is the collecting aspect of it. So my question to you is, do you think we will see these for sale in the near future?
I think you're going to see the DPOY one for sale.
Okay.
No, I think.
But and there's a competing theory on that. Like, do you send the shittiest one?
Yeah.
Or do you send the best one to create the highest comp?
All 6 are inscribed, or
I think
3 of them.
3 may be inscribed.
Like finals or championships, MVPs, and DPOY, and then Rookie of the Year and 2 that aren't, maybe something like that.
Sounds right. Yeah, 2 and 4. That sounds right.
I'd probably send one of them that has no inscription on it, keep one that has no inscription, and then keep the other 4. If we're trying to like reason with this.
Yeah.
But yep. I do think one of the 6 is going to show up for auction.
And then what would you set the over-under at for months? 3 months?
I was hoping to ask you first, because it's kind of a silly... It's going to be so hard to guess, but I can't get you set a number. You know how like when you're doing a buy-sell with somebody, you're just waiting for someone to say a number. You don't even care what they say. You can't be the one. You said $500,000. I heard you say it. And so I can't get that out of my mind. I feel like it is like in that 500 to 750 range because... like doubles the price. I don't know. Something about that seems right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, for people who are seeking these out, there's I guess 2 1010s, and then there's 4 that have various inscriptions. And I know a lot of people love inscriptions.
Yeah.
So there's almost like 5 different items there. The 4 different inscriptions, and then the 2 that don't have inscriptions. So there's going to be there's a lot of desirability to that, obviously. So in terms of a price, it's tough, but I like where your head's at on that. But what about like in the next year, will we see one of these? Yeah. Would you say it's likelier that we do see it? Yeah, I think so too.
I was gonna put a year on it when you asked, so I think a year sounds about right.
So here's a question for you. 2003 Ultimate Logo Man Jordan.
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask this. I was actually like, we're just on the same wavelength. I was like, let's talk about that card next. Go ahead.
Because great card.
Yeah.
It does have a significant asterisk, which is its post final retirement. Yeah. Not that means it's not a good card to collect or anything, but that is something you have to deal with. And then you compare that to one of these. And there it is, the 2003 Ultimate Logo Man Jordan PSA Authentic Auto 10.
Yeah.
And I can't see any of those 86 Fleers surpassing that card.
Right. Yeah, I think this card would put a definite ceiling on those ones. I just don't see how you could say that those are more valuable. I mean, it's like this one has the Logo Man on it. There's 6 of those. There's one of these pack inserted versus IP auto. I guess you're basically just doing this battle of like the story of MJ on the golf course versus the history of cards and Logo Mans and pack inserted 101s. probably lean towards the latter.
Yep. Yes. So I think that card does that card or the 97 game jersey autograph on a 23 card. I think those put a cap on almost any Jordan card.
Which would you rather own, the game jersey or those?
Or the Ultimate Logo Man?
No. I guess it's a stupid question then. These new ones.
The game jersey for sure.
What about the? Gosh, it's hard to find. It's not even a card. You're just not going to be interested.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't know where my threshold would be before you get to a card.
Like you'd rather have like a red PMG. You'd rather have like a rubies. Like where do you draw the line? Credentials. Where do you stop?
Well, you can't ignore the value of the 86 Fleer 1010. So at a certain point, you have to say, I would just take that and I would sell it and buy a bunch of the other stuff that I like.
Would you rather have an exquisite MJ?
There's multiple. If the price was equal, there's multiple exquisite. I would take any. If the price were even, I'd take any exquisite MJ over that. I don't consider in-person autographs just don't appeal to me. I understand how they do appeal to people. The rationale behind them is that they take a very iconic card and they add all sorts of rarity to the card by putting an autograph and an inscription on it, and it like lowers. There's like maybe 100. There's less than 100, I think, 86 Fleer Jordans, which is a very iconic card. There's like less than 100 that have an autograph. So the idea is that, hey, like there's countless, junk wax abundance of the 86 Fleer, but there's only 80 or whatever that have an autograph on it. That's the theory behind what makes that card special and valuable. But I just don't care about that. To me, it's a card that belongs in the realm of memorabilia, and there's memorabilia that's worth insane amounts of money, but it just doesn't appeal to me. I need it to conform to my notion of what a sports card is.
Yeah. The other thing we haven't mentioned, the biggest thing for me is the aesthetic of the card that was designed to be autographed and was autographed before being inserted into a pack versus the card that was never designed to have an autograph. So you're forcing the autograph onto a spot that shouldn't, it's not ready for it. So it looks out of place. Or something like this, like Carvin designed it where he's got the very obvious spot of the white section, and then they've got the pen that they chose, the blue, that has a really nice contrast against this white area, and it just aesthetically brings the card together. And then you've got like the holofoil on the other side to balance it out. Like it was all well thought out, so aesthetically the card looks better.
It does, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the aesthetics thing is hard to get into because it can be so subjective, but I find it. There are not many cards in the Jordan catalog that I think look worse than an in-person autograph on an 86 Fleer. Some are nicely done, but if the standard is like comparing them to the brilliance of the insert and parallel and even base card designs of the 90s or the gorgeous, exquisite patch autograph cards, like there's no comparing there. This is a card that was made during the junk wax era, prior to even refractor technology or chromium technology being used on cards, and then it has this aftermarket autograph slapped on it. The card is definitely iconic, but the aesthetics thing is just it would be very difficult to convince me that one of those looks better than virtually any 90s Jordan card. Are you allowed
to rank this MJ if it's not on a checklist? Like, can someone make a rankings list? This card is like a new card.
They can. Yeah, if somebody is willing to treat in-person autograph aftermarket items as members of the sports card category, then they can, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no right answer to that, but I know what my answer is. So
yeah.
Whenever I'm given the chance, I'm going to make the category smaller, not larger. Because if you take the IP thing to its logical conclusion, you are doubling the supply of Michael Jordan cards.
Right.
And I prefer to shrink the supply where possible. So, because every card could get an autograph, and then now you've doubled the number of collectible Michael Jordan cards, and there's already more than enough out there. All right. let's go into the topic of consolidation. This is 2 questions on this.
People are angry at us now.
Why?
There wasn't one of your questions like, what do you...
Yes.
I hate consolidating. This sucks.
Yes. There is some consolidation pushback going on. This comes from the Couchman Sports Cards. A little bit of a longer question. So, from my own observations of the hobby, it seems that much of the collector-focused content in the hobby accepts and even celebrates the idea of consolidation. But oftentimes, I see people consolidating and selling cards that they openly celebrated acquiring only a few months ago. I realize that all of us have valid, unique stories behind the who, what, why, and how we curate our collections. But as someone who has spent over 20 years on my main PC and who has a ton of sweat equity in my collection, the idea of consolidating makes me nauseous and frankly seems antithetical to the very basic idea of collecting. When I think about what would actually make me consider selling off a few big cards to chase a huge grail, only one thing comes to mind: my ego. So this begs the question: are consolidators really just ego collectors who accumulate smaller ego pieces only to sell them and get an even bigger ego boost from the hobby when they publicize the acquisition of a consolidation piece?
Dang. Pushing back on the idea of like someone buying and celebrating and then selling it in a few months to consolidate into a better card. You don't really get to choose when the better card comes up for sale for yourself. Like if there's a card that you're like, this card's never gonna come up for sale, let me just buy some other ones and move on. And then it comes up for sale and you're like, crap, like, I can't afford to buy that one with cash, so I guess I got to sell some of the ones I just recently purchased. That sucks, but that's the reality.
It is.
Anything like that.
Yeah, and it's like there are 2 different ways you can. There's the genuine approach, which is like somebody is really excited that they just got a new card, but then the grail that they've been waiting for comes up, and they don't have enough cash, and they have to sell some stuff to get it. That's very genuine. That can happen. And there is a bittersweet nature to that, obviously, of having to give up cards that you like to get an even bigger one that you like. And then there's the cynical point of view, but it's also accurate in many instances where somebody's just pretending to love the card that they got to convince others that they should love it too. And then, what do you know? Backdoor slide. A couple of these are for sale all of a sudden. Now that you guys forgot about the card a little bit, boom, here it's for sale. Remember how much everybody loves it? So that's the issue. That's one of the issues here. And it's a legitimate one.
Yeah, I think about consolidating in terms of like you have a pie of money, assuming you have a finite supply of money, which most of us do. Would you rather have 1,000 $1 cards or $1,000 card? It's really just like a personal preference thing. Like if you can't have everything, you eventually have to choose, would I rather have fewer cards than I have today and move into like a more expensive and having fewer cards, or would I want to stay and wait till I gain more money? It's just really like I don't think there's one right way to do it there.
Yeah, there's not. And there are people, there are definitely plenty of people who either specifically enjoy having more cards rather than fewer. There are also people who sort of have taken a long time to accumulate the collection, and the way the collection was accumulated and comprised is part of the identity of the collection. It means a lot to them that it was acquired by them in this way, and with these stories revolving around each acquisition. There's plenty of people and plenty more reasons besides just those why somebody could want to have a big eclectic collection and prefer that to consolidate. And I also want to cede this point to the question asker, and I don't know if he expected that or not. But the question of, are consolidators really just ego collectors who are just boosting their ego by getting the biggest card they possibly can? Yes. Yes.
We figured you out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a very strong motivating factor, is the pride of being able to say, I have acquired a card that without the process of consolidation and knowledge of the hobby and experience in the hobby, I would never have been able to get this card. That's one of the great perks of consolidation today.
Yeah, I think that maybe the question asker, I don't know if they did it intentionally, but the use of the word ego is generally meant to be negative, right? Like
Right.
you're egotistical. But the definition of ego is the self, especially as contrasted with another self. So it really is just like, yeah, I want the best for myself.
Yeah.
You're right. You caught me.
Exactly. Like, I agree with this. Yes, that is a motivating factor. And there are definitely lots of collectors out there who are not motivated by that. They're not motivated by like being able to claim that they have the,
Right.
a certain status of card. They are way more motivated by the process of collecting and accumulating and the history they can tell through the various cards they've collected. And I think I think everything said here was a fair criticism. I don't disagree with it. All right. The other consolidation question is from The Goat Cards. Please discuss the risk of over consolidating into zero.
Into zero.
Yeah. I guess that means the risk of just selling everything because you get so carried away.
It's like, oh crap, my cards are gone. What happened? Would you actually ever consolidate into one card? I feel like we've had this topic a bunch. I know I would, but I don't think you would.
Dude, it would have to be a card that I don't think exists.
Yeah, it's because you don't have. The problem is you don't have an MJ rookie.
Exactly.
Like I have a LeBron rookie. It's just not possible. Yeah.
Like the MJ Prism Black 1/1. Yes, I would.
If there was if there was the Jokic card that you have, but in an MJ form, you would do it for that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I feel better.
Yeah. It just has to be a card where even like the 98 Gem Masters MJ, like like if that really ever became an option,
What about the Luka Prism Black?
No way.
Why not?
I just think it's too expensive.
You wouldn't trade your whole PC for that.
No, I do think that's an amazing card. I love that card, but I don't think that it wouldn't be. I would be losing, I think, if I traded my whole PC for it.
Is she like getting ready to throw something across the room at you?
No.
For the Maxi Neon Green, yeah, maybe.
No. I definitely want the Luka Black 1/1, but I'm not willing to put all of the eggs into that one basket. Like,
good point.
Like I love the arena designs of the 90s too much to get rid of some of those Jordans.
Yeah.
Plus, you have that of a 3-time MVP already.
Exactly.
You like obviously the Luka's worth more, but Jokic is the better player, right?
I think he is at this juncture. He may not always be.
You basically like be getting rid of that card and a ton of other stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So Circa Rave says, what about for the credentials now out of 9, Michael Jordan? No. Nope.
There's 9 of them, dude. That's like 1 million to you. That's like
9 is 8 too many, sir.
That's like the Walmart of cards.
Yeah.
Was that a good segue? Did I jump the gun?
That was great. What are we segueing into?
Walmart.
Yes. Great. Reeves 15 PC says, are we talking about Walmart?
I still am not quite sure what this Walmart thing is, and I've read the thing like 6 times. And you even said you asked me a question about it, and I was like too embarrassed the first time to be like, I don't even understand what this is. There's a reseller fee of 0. What does that mean?
And then I came back and I was like, well, I don't know what this means.
Like, no offense, but like if you and I can't figure it out and we've read it 20 times, like I'm pretty sure the hobby is like, yeah, reseller fees. This is sick. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I don't know. So here's another take. just raining on parades today.
I just don't know what it is. I don't know. I can't even hate it because I don't know what it is. What am I hating?
Well, let me start the hate train this way.
Oh, I'm on board already.
Isn't Walmart already in cards?
You're somehow you're the only one on this train, and I still am not willing to get on the train because I don't. Is this like a different Walmart or something?
Look, I'm happy to drive this train. When Christine and I first came back in the hobby, trying to find penny sleeves for cards that were wrapped up in rubber bands and stuff from collecting as a kid in the 90s, we went to Walmart, and Walmart had penny sleeves, and they had trading cards, and they had NBA licensed Panini cards, and we bought some. 8 years ago. Over 8 years ago. All right? So, what do you mean Walmart's getting into trading cards? They've been selling trading cards for at least the last 8 years.
Dude, I Google searched Walmart sports cards, and I'm on page 4, and I haven't seen a single message about whatever this new one is. Okay, page 4, here it is. The first 3 pages were like existing things like you're talking about, like buying wax, buying supplies at Walmart, buying baseball retail boxes, buying whatever. Like it's all existing stuff that's been there for years. And I got to page 3, and it's like a huge announcement about Walmart joining sports cards.
It's like, yeah, it's like I get it. There is a difference there. They look to be starting some sort of marketplace. It almost looks like they're entering to compete with eBay on some level.
A marketplace meaning like a place to sell cards?
Yeah, like a secondary, like a marketplace for singles and boxes.
There you go. Because they already have a marketplace. It's called the Stores.
That's right. A marketplace that's open to independents and dealers and stuff. But like, even that's just a little weird because there's like zero fees or something. It was just fees for what? If I refer somebody, I get
the reseller fees. This felt like this is very obviously just like another piece of news that content creators can hype up as like, oh, sports cards are gonna 2x now. Like we're gonna turn the corner here, guys. Walmart's joining. We're all gonna be fine. It's like we're trying to latch on to some piece of news to turn things around or whatever. And then some people that are like the cynics like us are like, wait a minute, reseller fees? What does that mean? Wait, haven't we already been in cards? This isn't anything, guys. This is a nothing burger.
Yep. That's where I'm at.
I still don't know what it is. Someone want to DM me and explain what the hell it is?
And what's up with these announcements, but like way before it happens?
Yeah, where do we get these? I want some scoops. Scoop me.
Well, okay. So that's the announcement of the coming announcements. But the coming announcement doesn't sync up with any immediate actionable thing. Like, I can't go on Walmart and see people selling their cars now. It's just when does that happen?
You're assuming that's what it's going to be. What if it's like a fucking affiliate program for other sites and they don't actually have it on their site? What's a reseller fee?
I don't know, man.
The more I say it out loud, the less I understand it. Reseller fee. Reselling what?
In all the boardroom meetings, nobody ever wondered this?
I want to see this stupid image again where I could just read the text one more time, but I can't. Literally Google search it, and it's all just about like retail boxes at Walmart.
You gotta go like an influencer's page on social media.
Seriously. Wait a minute, I might have found it. Here we go. It's like I had to scroll so far on Google Images. Here we go. Read this.
Yeah, there it is.
What the fuck does this mean?
Trading card sellers, join the collectibles experience for a 0% referral fee.
Okay, it's not a reseller fee. I'm an idiot. I said that like 100 times. It's a referral fee.
Well, why would there be a fee if I refer somebody?
Well, there's a little star there. Conditions apply.
What is
God
that?
Damn it.
Maybe the asterisk is the key to something.
Yeah, well, no. Conditions apply. Dang it.
That's it.
This is it, guys. This is the big announcement. Trading card sellers join the collectibles experience for a 0% referral fee.
A referral fee, according to AI Overview, also known as a finder's fee, is a type of compensation paid to someone who helps a business gain new customers or clients.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is I want like a 10% referral fee.
Why do
If
I get 0?
Yeah, if I refer somebody, we were talking about the 5% finder's fee. Like this, we're coming.
Maybe they're going to refer my marketplace for no fee.
Or maybe once you're in, you get like X amount of invites, and then when you invite someone, they don't have to pay fees to Walmart.
Okay.
Like maybe they're not using it in the proper context.
Okay, so if you refer me, then you don't have to pay Walmart any fees for a period of
sales.
time.
Like I don't have to pay any corporate fees on the cards that I sell on their platform.
That's the most logical answer.
But how do I join the collectibles experience?
Conditions apply.
It's going to be like beta boys, beta testers, and invites.
Oh yeah, wait till those invites start going out.
Dude, remember when we were supposed to care about like GameStop getting to the hobby?
Yep.
There's a GameStop near my house. I went to it. They're buying PSA cards. That's real. They've scaled it out. They're doing it at all the stores now, or I don't know if they are all of them, but they are at least the one by me. And nobody cares. We've moved on to Walmart referral fees.
And then I think the juice from that has been drunk.
The referral fee one?
Yeah, like the Walmart juice of like Walmart's coming into the hobby. Like I even think that is just
someone's gonna message me. It's not a reseller fee; it's a referral fee. I said it like 50 times. But here's another one. The collectibles experience. They're gonna explain it to me. Do you sell collector's items? Then have a priceless experience with no. That didn't help.
Yeah, all right. Maybe we'll get some questions answered in the future on this. All right.
I know that when I'm getting real excited about sports cards, I'm always looking for the people that have the lowest referral fees.
I need that 5% referral fee.
You should go to each booth at National and be like, what's your referral fee? And they're going to be like, what are you talking about?
Better than Walmart's.
0.1%.
All right. Next question here from Midwest Vintage Cards. Did you hear about the theft at the Dallas Card Show?
Of course, it was on literally everyone's page. How could I not?
Yeah. You know, one thing I'm worried about is that local news in Dallas has picked up this story.
Really?
And the culprits haven't been found yet. And so thieves who have no notion of cards and no notion of what the Dallas Card Show is are suddenly thinking to themselves, I could either try to rob Bank of America for $2 million, or I could just go to a card show and pick up a case, and I just have to distract a few people.
So this is like the theory of like when they started talking about serial killers, that's when it like spiked that there were more serial killers.
Exactly.
Oof.
I'm worried about that. I'm worried about this story escaping our community and going into the public's consciousness, and suddenly more people getting the idea that a 2 million, like, I think we're a little bit numb and desensitized to the amount of money at stake in the hobby, you know, like in general, just because we see these crazy card prices and stuff. A $2 million heist is crazy.
Yeah, if that was a bank, to your point, people would be losing their minds.
Yeah. Yes. That is... Thieves are taking notes.
That's like double the highest payout ever on any reality game show of all time.
Right. Like when that guy who first won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is just like, oh, I already know the question, Dad. I'm just calling you to tell you that I won.
Yeah.
And then he only won $1 million.
Exactly. This is $2 million.
And then he got taxed on it. So he
What
really only won $500,000.
What's the actual?
Let's not assume these thieves won't pay their taxes.
What's the actual
I'm assuming
avenue?
if you're willing to break the law to steal something, you're not worried about the IRS.
I know.
What's the actual avenue though to like realize those profits of the $2 million as the thief?
The avenue would be you have to crack out all those cards and regrade them.
Oh, see, I never even thought of that.
Yep, that's what you'd have to do. And then, God,
Vintage. Another problem with vintage.
and kudos to the Dallas Card Show for all the incredible surveillance footage they had. There was surveillance footage released today that shows one of the culprits standing in line to buy their ticket. I mean, they have great views of these guys from multiple angles.
To your point, maybe one of the reasons we haven't caught them yet is they're from outside the hobby, and they just like none of us recognize them because they've never dealt with cards ever, you know.
Yep, I think the likelihood of that gets higher and higher as like this footage circulates and nobody knows who they are. And then there's even a $70,000 reward, I think, issued by the victim. And if anybody, there's probably a lot of people, especially if they are hanging around thieves, who would sell somebody out for $70,000. So I do think it continues. It's the longer this goes, the more likely it is these guys are not known at all in the hobby.
What does this make you think about for the National as someone, maybe not you personally, but like if someone's listening to this and they're like, man, this really makes me nervous about National. I was thinking about bringing some cards. I may not have $2 million, but relative for myself, this is a lot of money to me. What should I do? Should I not bring my cards? Should I get insurance? Should I get a lock and carry? Like, what does this make you think of?
Yeah, well, I want to hear your answer to this too, but I would say that definitely have insurance. Always have insurance. I do anyway. I always carry an insurance policy for sure. And then I don't ever bring cards to a show unless I'm grading them or having them graded card reviewed or whatever. So that's all. I've always been that way, which sucks. Like, it's a lot of fun to bring cards to a show. Christina had something.
Get your case, your briefcase, and then you handcuff it to your arm.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought of was like people might watch the surveillance video and think like, oh man, this would never happen to me. I would have taken steps A, B, C to prevent this if it were me. They shouldn't have done this. But it was like, I watched that video and I was like, gosh, that's like a coordinated thing where it's like, not that I think, I can't really blame the person who was victimized here. Just, sure, they just didn't have it handcuffed to their arm or whatever, but like, it just makes me think, I can't bring my cards. That's what it makes me think. Like, anyone could possibly pull off some scam like that. Like, we're at the beginning of the show, I mentioned we're distracted. There's so much going on. That dealer stepped away, had two people watch his stuff. There's this feeling of comfortability by the end of these shows where everyone around you, the dealers, the people that run the show, you get kind of lulled into the comfort. It's the end of the show. And then all of a sudden this elaborate scheme is put on top of you and you're screwed. It's like, it makes me think you just can't bring your cards, which sucks.
Yep. That's the way I lean on it as well. Do you think the culprits will be found?
There's probably some like police statistic that like every day that passes like reduces it by 20% or something.
Yeah. Well, we had a different, I think it was also $2 million theft of cards that when they were shipped to that hotel.
Yeah.
And that thief was found.
All but two cards were
recovered. Yeah. Yep.
I hope so, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is gonna impact at least the next few months worth of shows in terms of what people are comfortable bringing.
But this was a dealer too. Like, he has to bring his cards. He's the dealer.
Yeah.
This wasn't like
Yep.
someone's backpack being ripped off their shoulders, and now people are like, "Oh, I don't want to bring my cards as someone walking around the show because this might happen to me. I'll only bring minimal stuff, like you said, for grading." But how's the dealer has to keep bringing their cards?
Exactly.
Bummer.
Yeah. And then, like, you start thinking about things like what could card shows do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like I was talking to Stiff and Christine about this earlier, and one idea that came up was, well, maybe card shows have to start logging the ID of every person who enters Nexus. So then at least when you have like video footage of these guys coming into the show, you know, you can associate it with an ID, even if it's a fake ID. There still may be clues and evidence there. So
there's I've been to like tech conferences in the past for work, and you like have to register for those through like an app, and it shows you like what rooms each talks are in. So you basically like are kind of ID'd through that. You're logging in and creating an account through the conference and stuff like that. So there's some technology stuff, but it just feels like cards are usually a few steps behind. The card shows are usually a few steps behind and stuff like that. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you would hope that something of the underground element, I guess just we can't have these flea market feels to card shows anymore. Not
Too
when
much money.
there's, yeah, too much money. Bro Ohio says don't allow cash for entry, but a sophisticated thief could pay by a prepaid credit card.
That's your answer for all the scams and cards now.
It's those prepaid cards are dangerous.
You've been watching too much Breaking Bad with like the flip phones and stuff.
Yeah. Brendan Ryan says, "Is there no inside job conspiracy?" Here's the thing about that.
Insurance fraud.
Yeah, and there definitely are theories about this floating around that people have thought about a lot, and they have some merit to them. But here's the risk of this. All right, which worries me a little bit. Let's just suppose that the victim is just truly an unwitting victim, and if that's the case, not only are they dealing with the loss of $2 million, we don't know what the insurance policy is, but not only are they potentially dealing with that and with the embarrassment of being victimized, and then just the pure loss and the devastation that comes with that, but then also they have to deal with people like my fat head sitting on an Instagram screen speculating that maybe there's a conspiracy going on that they masterminded. I mean, it starts to get a little bit brutal, and I just want to wait a little bit, you know, like I see there is merit to some of those opinions. Like there definitely is. I think police and authorities are going to be looking into them.
$2 million
to eliminate them. Yeah. But
there's like whole jobs at insurance companies that are dedicated to this. Exactly.
Yeah. And insurance will be looking into it, I'm sure, as well, very closely. But yeah, I've just guys already having a pretty bad day or week. I'm not ready to pile onto it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll.
$2 million.
Yeah, just that's I guess what I'm saying. Just like there is a human victim at the end of all this who is going through something pretty awful right now. All right. Next question here from Drake's PC.
Chat is heating up right now.
The chat has found its groove.
They're like in the fifth inning. Their arm is loose, and they're like the starter is just going.
From Drake's PC. When we're discussing all-time greats, how much do you weigh the competition that the player was playing against during their prime? For example, Tom Brady in his prime played against Hall of Famers like Peyton, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, and others. In the 90s, guys like Dan Marino, Brett Favre, John Elway, and Joe Montana were battling it out. I love to watch Mahomes. The guy is ultra talented, but what future Hall of Famers is he going against week in and week out? I know he can't help who else is in the league, but do you think his greatness may be a bit overstated when he's an A-plus player going against C-plus and B-minus talent in their prime?
So we're like definitively saying that the 90s and 2000s quarterbacks are better than today's quarterbacks. Is that what we're saying?
Yep.
That's the whole argument?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about that one.
Yeah. I guess, that's a great place to start here is what proof is there? What proof could you submit that Marino, Favre, Elway, Montana, Peyton, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Ben Roethlisberger will, when it's all said and done, end up being better quarterbacks than Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and the other guys that Mahomes is going up against?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that now, looking back at like completed 15 to 18-year careers for those guys versus like Lamar Jackson already has 2 MVPs in like his 6th year. Joe Burrow, like these guys are all so young. It's just hard to say where they're going to end up. We don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that this is why Michael Jordan was a guy who often would say he doesn't compare eras. He wouldn't say that a player from his era is better than somebody from Kareem's era or something like that. So like there is a line of thinking here that people have about like, let's not compare the eras, let's only compare within the eras. So
is this going to turn into a plumber debate?
That's what Publius said. He was like, we're in the plumber's era.
I just have a hard time thinking like quarterbacks are getting worse. I know that's like Simmons likes to normalize that topic. Like, half the league has shitty quarterbacks, but I just like half the league has to lose the game. So it's easy to say they're shitty when their record isn't like not every team can be 12-5. Like someone has to lose. So half these quarterbacks are going to look bad. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Didn't Tom Brady lose the Super Bowl to Nick Foles?
I'm waiting for you to like join me in the poking this one, but there you go. That's a good start. That was good.
Didn't Tom Brady lose 2 Super Bowls to Eli Manning?
Peyton's little brother. That's what he always said.
It's like, so I think I saw Marino on that list. Doesn't that guy have like 0 Super Bowls and like that's the guy I'm worried about?
Yeah.
How many MVPs does Dan Marino have? How many do you think he has?
I don't think he has any.
He has one.
Okay, that's one
MVP. Lamar Jackson is already better than Dan Marino. He has 2 MVPs and the same number of Super Bowls. So it's like I'm not that excited about Dan Marino and Brett Favre. Brett Favre has 1 championship.
Yeah. Wasn't Troy Aikman tearing up the league for 3 Super Bowls?
One of my favorite things is when people post pictures of like quarterbacks that have more passing yards than Troy Aikman, and it's like everyone. Good job, Troy. You turned around and handed it off to Emmitt Smith a bunch of times. Good job.
Yeah. No, I'm just like this question doesn't really prod me too much because I enjoy seeing the plumber argument get completely reversed.
Right. Now the new guys suck.
Yeah, it's just like it just kind of shows like the plumber thing, you know. There was also the point made in the chat that quarterbacks play against defenses, but then you can do the whole thing. Quarterbacks are so protected nowadays with all the rules in terms of how you can hit them and
Joe Flacco is 18th all time in passing yards. He's destroyed Troy Aikman. He has 12,000 more passing yards than Troy Aikman. Joe Flacco.
I think Joe Flacco might have got a Super Bowl during the prime of a few of those guys.
He's Dan Marino. He's better.
So look, if Joe Flacco is getting a Super Bowl during the prime of Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady, then like I think we can make some exceptions for who Mahomes is going up against.
Do you think Josh Allen will be in the Hall of Fame?
I know it's a lot more difficult to get into the Football Hall of Fame. And I think for Allen to get in, like for anybody to get in football, you really need the longevity. So I think Allen's path, if he plays at he can continue. He plays at a Hall of Fame level right now, but he would need to do it for like 10 more years, something like that.
Well, here's some guys that are in the Hall of Fame at quarterback. Troy Aikman is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Brett Favre is in the Hall of Fame. Jim Kelly, that guy never won a Super Bowl.
Went to 4 though.
Warren Moon. I mean, there's only 26 quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, only 26 is just nuts.
Steve Young.
Yeah.
It's a pretty tough list, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Like, there's Matt Stafford won that Super Bowl, and there's real debate about whether he'll go into the Hall of Fame.
Matt Ryan's not getting in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Hall of Fame.
I think Football Reference has a Hall of Fame monitor that tries to predict who will.
The percentages?
Yeah.
I'll pull that up. There's only 29 receivers in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's really small.
Football was in the Hall of Fame.
A bunch of offensive linemen.
Yeah, like.
All right, here we go. Quarterback. He's a quarterback. Tom Brady. Let's see, 100%. Matt Ryan's up here. This doesn't have percentages. It has like Hall of Fame M. It's like Hall of Fame monitor score. It's ranked.
Okay.
It's like Brady, Manning, Rodgers, Brett Favre, Johnny. Wait, these guys are like already in it. I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. The basketball one's a lot better.
You know, when kind of getting back to like the heart of Drake's question, there is a theory of greatness that says you can only play who's in front of you, and the measure of greatness is how much better you are than your contemporaries. And that's, you know, maybe the best or the only way to compare greatness is how much better are you than the other very best athletes who also play your sport. And if there's a huge gap, if you have the biggest gap between yourself and all your best contemporaries, that's a theory of greatness in and of itself.
Yeah.
All right. Next question here. You provided a segue for it, but then we moved on, but then I'm going to go back to it now anyway. Geechee Cards says, I've been listening for a while, and I always hear you guys reference the Bill Simmons podcast. Yet I cannot tell if you like him or are hate listening. Can you provide the official crossover opinion on Bill?
You have to go first.
I have to go first?
Yeah, because I want to be the one to
Okay. All right.
swoop in and save the day.
All right, good. All right, I'll be the opening act here. And first of all, if I'm listening to a podcast, I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I wouldn't waste my time filling the air with noises if I didn't respect the person who was making them, at least on some level. And, you know, I think Bill makes a very, very good podcast. And it's compelling. And it's the podcast that, honestly, I think I look forward to the most every week. However, I tend to think that a lot of his opinions are awful. And there's my dilemma, is that I love the style, I love the presentation, the thoughtfulness, the preparation that goes in. But then when I'm listening to 30 minutes of why Anthony Edwards is making the leap now, and he's reminiscent of Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, the Pope and everybody else in a 30-minute time span, and then he loses in 5 games in the next round and isn't even competitive. That take I did not agree with, and I think Bill has a handful of those from time to time that I don't, and I just don't love those takes. So, all right, what's your thought, Josh?
I think Bill Simmons referred to Joshua Dobbs as Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen combined.
That's the perfect example of the takes that I don't like.
And 3 weeks later, he was like basically like benched.
Right.
Dang it! I basically have the same take as you. I think he has the most entertaining podcast in sports. He has a great mix of guests. I like that he has a nice schedule. That I know that Monday mornings when I wake up and do my workouts or start work at Monday, I can listen to him go through all the games, all the football games. He can go through all the basketball games. Like, I know that I'm going to get content that I'm interested in. I like the angle that he takes on different topics, like the way that he presents it in new, fun ways, like his like trade rankings, right? Like most people just rank by the skill of the player. He ranks it by like their contracts. Like, he just has interesting angles. He's very good at connecting historical comparisons. Like, he makes it like fun and interesting to compare a player in this era to an older basketball player because he's been around the game for a while. I like his I like most of his guests. I like Russillo. I like House. Like it's just like a fun show.
Sal? What about Cousin
Sal? This is a fun show. I'm like looking forward to. One of my favorite parts of the football season is the Sunday night podcast with him and Sal. Like, It's a fun show.
Yep, absolutely. And Bill is like a good barometer for gauging where the casual fan's sentiment likely lies.
Yeah, like,
which can be very helpful.
The betting public too, like the general bettor.
Totally. Yeah, and like Bill has a lot of theories about like who wants it more.
Yeah,
stuff like that. And it's good. It's and like him and Russillo were the captains of the Anthony Edwards hype train, but like they were tapping into something that other people were feeling and was resonating with them as well. Like they are pretty good, especially Bill. He's a nice proxy for and the average opinion.
Or is he the kingmaker?
No.
You don't think that him going that hard on Edwards is what made the general public go so hard on him?
No, I don't think so. I do think I think there was such a desperation for an American superstar that like Kendrick Perkins just was already calling Anthony Edwards the best player because we had seen the same song and dance with Ja Morant slightly before and stuff, and so.
Right.
But I do think he's made a few princes. I think he's not a kingmaker, but he's made a few princes, and one of the princes that he's constantly lobbied for, and I think has really helped push, is Jason Tatum. I don't think Jason Tatum has 3 All-NBA First Team awards if Bill Simmons wasn't lobbying for him constantly.
Yeah, that's what annoys me the most about him. Russillo is also from like the Boston area, I think, and you wouldn't really know it because Russillo doesn't jump into it as much, but Bill just like can't help himself with like the extreme bias towards Celtics, and that's what bothers me the most.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, to be fair though, Russillo grew up on the island, and therefore he thinks he's better than Boston.
Isn't he from? Did he not grow up in Connecticut?
No, he grew up in the Vineyard, and like he always fucking talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all do. Like they're so fucking hoity-toity about it.
And now,
like so he literally thinks he's better than Boston. So like him like standing for as a fan for the Celtics would be like so beneath him.
There you go.
And now he lives in like
Manhattan,
near the beach, Manhattan Beach, and he's got his background. Like he loves, Yep.
You can almost make out the ocean there through that window. Yeah, he's
a little far away. I can't quite see the water. He's kind of inland.
Right. Russillo is good. They're all good, and they all are good at what they're supposed to be good at. I can't stand the Ringer quarterback rankings.
It's like the more that Purdy plays well, the more they're going to push him down.
Where do you think he's rated right now?
I'm just like about to pull it up. I think he said he was like 18th or something.
Yeah, pull this up, right? Fresh off a Super Bowl run and leading the league in EPA per play, passer rating, and quarterback rating. And he lost the Super Bowl in overtime.
Are you watching Receiver?
No, but I am watching the new Hard Knocks. Oh my God, where is he?
Receiver's better.
Okay, I'll give Receiver a watch.
Who's Hard Knock? Who's the team? The Cowboys or something?
Right now it's the Giants. It's like a preseason thing with the Giants.
Nice. I'm still scrolling.
There's 3 Hard Knocks this year and 3 different teams.
Dude, I'm still scrolling.
Yeah.
Wait,
let me know when you get to him. I got to him.
How is Caleb Williams ranked lower than Justin Fields? They literally got rid of Justin Fields so they could get whatever. Dude, he's 22. He's below Daniel Jones.
Dude, it's insane. Look, they choose to give you 3 stats for quarterbacks. These are all 3. They give you EPA per play. Purdy is first. Success rate. Purdy is first. Completion percentage over expected. Purdy is first. And so they rank him 22nd.
That's crazy. He's first in everything. He's literally ranked below Daniel Jones, who's 30th, 27th, and 16th.
He's beneath Justin Fields. He's beneath Drake May.
How is Drake May ranked ahead of Caleb Williams? How are they doing that?
And sometimes people will tell me like, oh, people make lists and they rank in a certain way so that it gets engagement or content. Dude, there's no engagement farming by ranking Purdy 22nd. They really think the creators of this list.
How is Geno Smith ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts? Wasn't Hurts like number 2 in the MVP vote last year?
Maybe not last year, but
2 years ago, when they went to the fucking Super Bowl. Geno Smith hasn't even sniffed a playoff win.
Yeah, I do hate this list. I definitely hate this list. All right.
No, receiver's good.
Okay, I'll give receiver a watch.
Did you watch quarterback?
I tried, but it bored me, to be honest with you.
Oh, then you probably won't like receiver. It's like Hard Knocks.
I need to give it I just need to put it on as background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, half about like them and their families and half about like the training camps and stuff.
All right. A few more questions we'll get to here. This one from Stacken Jr. Please.
First.
It's crazy. Please discuss funding services and the impact that they have on the market and on the hobby.
I think they're great services, honestly. I can't really find like a flaw with them. We took issue with them a bit when they first started popping up in terms of like the reliability of like getting paid back and like what do you do about valuations and timings of how to pay back and stuff. But in general, like if it helps people get their grails and they can sort of like defer that with a loan and the person who's doing the service makes money, I mean, it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, it is. And it
Taxes.
solves...
We had issues with the tax part of it.
It solves a real problem. And the problem is that payments, even at the auction houses, is required pretty instantly.
Yeah.
Or, I remember the last time I won something on Golden, I was immediately getting an email like, this has to be paid by 5 days from now or whatever. Like that's the deadline to pay this.
The second you want it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of pressure, and which is completely fine, from marketplaces to pay immediately. Like I think eBay's window for payment is even shorter than 5 days. And so if you get, and this is why instant payment is tricky, because as great as it would be to require people to instantly pay for cards, there's a level of uncertainty in buying cards. If you're bidding on an auction and it's for a $5,000 card and you don't know if you're going to win that auction or not, you're not just going to pull $5,000 out of your investment account, or you're not just going to sell your other cards to raise the $5,000 until you know for sure that you're going to win that card at auction. And let's say the card goes for $6,000 at auction and you lose it, So now do you have to try and put that money back into the investment account? Maybe you created a taxable event when you took it out, or are you going to, you already sold your other cards to raise the money to pay for this one. So what do you do now? Now you're out of those cards and you don't have the card that you were trying to bid on. So there's a real logic, a real rational reason to wait to raise them, to wait to gather the money to pay for a card until you know that you've won it. And that's one of the things that these services solve, is that they will allow you to exist in a world where you can try to win, and if you do win, they will pay it for you in advance, and then you can compensate them down the line by sending them cards. That's what I think it's really solving a problem that does exist.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. I'm surprised the auction houses don't take it upon themselves to pay the seller right away and offer that service to the buyer, the potential buyer. So that way the seller gets paid right away, and you're not, because that's one of the issues with the auction houses not wanting to get involved is well, then the seller has to wait so long for the buyer to gather up the funds and go through all the stuff. Well, what if the auction house just paid the seller right away and then worked with the buyer to go through the process?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think I think the auction house got a little carried away with that a few years ago.
Yeah.
And got into some, but I think they weren't executing in the same way that somebody like Fund Your Cards executes, where it's a much tighter ship.
Right.
And instead of I've got a big client on the line, so let's just extend them lots of credit and let them collateralize it with their other cards that they own, and we'll just not worry about what happens if card values go down 50%. And then they did. And then all these loans that were collateralized by cards, they just said, oh, here, take all the cards that are collateralized in these loans.
But yeah, that's very different than the model that Fund Your Cards is, which is they're going to be moving those cards that you're using to pay for them immediately. And if it doesn't sell on the accounts, privately quickly, they send it to auction and take off the percentage for their part of it. So it's a much tighter process, to your point.
Exactly. And they don't release the card to you until you've paid it off.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. This was a funny one. Black Hat Cards said, please discuss the AJ Green Topps Chrome Superfractor rookie that sold. You saw that?
Oh, no, I didn't see it on eBay, but I saw the stories about it.
Yeah, this sold for $65. 2011 Topps Chrome AJ Green Superfractor 1 of 1. Really cool card. And I went to the eBay listing, and the item description says, AJ Green 1 of 1 Superfractor rookie card. I pulled this out of a pack, sleeved and top loaded immediately. It's a little off center, but a perfect addition to a green PC.
A little off centered.
And then it showed up on Instagram with the buyer saying incoming and available.
Yes. Let me guess, it's available. Man, I want the Todd Gurley of that card so bad.
Yeah. Yep. Has it ever been seen?
Nope. The finest has been seen. The finest is a PSA 10, but I haven't heard of anything with the Topps Chrome. Yeah, that's so freaking crazy. $65. What a sweet card.
Yep, nice pickup. And my condolences to the seller. This from Pack Nicholson. On card letter collections, is there a way to mark the same card for multiple collections? Like if I have a player collection and a set collection, and I have a card that I want to show up in both. Currently, as far as I can tell, I have to create 2 uploads of the same card for it to show up in both. And then Carlson Card says that he's wondering that as well. It would be nice to almost have tags for each card where we can select which showcases or collections that we want them to appear in.
We do not have that ability at this moment, but I've heard it requested a few times now, so noted.
Noted. All right. From Wookie Hunter, should we start tipping our card store when we get big hits or when they find a card for our PC?
Sure.
I mean, when they find
knock yourself out, man.
When they find a card for your PC, isn't that just a finder's fee? Like,
yeah.
Well, like,
I think those are 2 very different situations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But when you like break a box that they sold you, that they like upcharged you,
right.
Like, I'm not gonna fucking tip you on top of that. Sorry.
When you go to a restaurant or takeout fast food and they say this iPad's got a couple questions for you, and it's like 15%, 20%, or 30% tip. What do you guys do in that situation? Or what's like the moral response to this? I've seen reels that are like, you shouldn't tip this because of the institutions and like you should never tip, and it's like
never
you should tip.
Oh, that's tough.
Well, first of all, I used to be a waitress, like in college. So you should always tip when you sit down. That's the first.
So Christina, as a former waitress, says always tip when you sit down.
If you're sitting down and being served, you should be tipped. I do a minimum of 15%, no matter how bad the service is, because there are 2 different levels to the minimum wage. There's the minimum wage, and then there's the waitress minimum wage, which is often a lot fucking lower. Like when I worked, the minimum wage was like, I think $9. No.
Mohammed says I would tip Christina negative.
So he would sift the bill, so I'd have to it would have to come out of my tips to pay for his fucking dinner.
That's what he says.
He would.
All right. What do you do, Josh? How do you solve this? Why tipping culture is bad for everyone? Oh boy.
Well, I think there's some research around how if you're tipping, you're just you're actually just like paying the companies more, because the companies should be like just giving reasonable salaries to restaurant workers so they don't need tips. I think that's the argument.
Well, yeah, it's like corporate welfare is like the argument, is like you're subsidizing their employees so they don't have to pay a fair wage to them. Which like I get if you're like going through the like Chipotle or like Starbucks or like Subway line, but if you're sitting down at a restaurant, like you should tip your fucking waitress. But like also I've seen them crazy, like stupid things have asked me for tips, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, so I get the tipping fatigue thing that's happening.
Well, tipping is interesting because it lets you decide what you want to pay for the service. Wouldn't that be nice with cards if I got to name the price of the card I'm buying?
No.
I just feel like when they turn the iPad to me, and then I have to like click 3 buttons to tip 0, and then they're like, "Wow, you just tipped me 0. Thanks a lot." It's like, what the fuck? I just walked in here and you handed me a bag. I don't know what the fuck. Who am I tipping? I already paid for it.
Yeah, forget that. Like are you talking about Chipotle?
No, not Chipotle. Never asked me for tip.
Okay.
It's like more like, it kind of feels like it's more like boutique takeout place, like local small businesses but dude, I get a decent amount of takeout. I probably get prompted for what I just described like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's like, the lowest option is like 20%. And a lot of them, it's like,
Yeah.
Let me address Bill's comment in the chat, because he says every time I decline rounding up my total for the kid, I feel terrible about my life. Do not. Because do you know when they do that, McDonald's has already paid them, like paid whatever charity, like that amount of money. And every time you round up, McDonald's pockets that money to make up for what their donation was. So like, do not feel bad about not giving your change to like kids or whatever, because the corporations are just taking that money because they already made the donation.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing too, right? Like, if you want to donate to a charity, at least do it in a way that's going to give you a receipt and that is accountable,
Right.
so that you can write it off for yourself. Because instead, you're just giving McDonald's money to make their own tax write-off.
Yeah, that one. I don't do that one unless it's like my receipt is like $11.99 and I just want to laugh. Like, sure, you can round up a penny, idiots.
A penny for the Ronald McDonald Foundation.
The other one is just like, it's more of like the iPad's facing me and they're staring at me and I'm like, seriously? And you're like a small business. I don't want to feel like a douchebag, but like you're just handing me the food. I already paid for it.
Yeah. How about this from TCG Sports Cards? In Japan, servers get offended if you tip them.
This is what I'm talking about. I said at the beginning, like, some people are like, tipping is offensive and it's bad. And some people are like, if you don't do it, you're dead to me and never come back to my restaurant. I can't win.
It is. How did this even come to be the case?
It's like a cultural thing. I don't know. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it's becoming more popular in Europe because there's so many Americans travel in Europe and they started tipping waitresses. So like,
yeah.
Then waitresses got used to getting extra cash from Americans. So now, like, if they know you're American, they'll actually like let you tip. Like they'll like do it so that you can tip. But if you're a local, they won't give you the receipt for the tip.
Doesn't Japan have like the worst ratio of deficit to GDP like in the history of civilization? So I don't know that I'm like super trustworthy of Japan's fiscal policies.
They can't tip because it's all going to their debts.
Right?
I don't know. The tipping is it is a weird It's a weird thing.
I don't know. Does Quiznos make you tip?
The last one we went to probably had they asked for a tip. A lot of the Subways ask for a tip.
Subway asked for a tip now? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Subway's getting too fancy now? What is this shit?
It ain't getting fancy, I'll tell you that.
Maybe the people at Chipotle are like they're just nice to me and they know it'll make me mad.
This question came from 240 Cards and I didn't get it. Have you ever opened a pack of cards but said to yourself, these pretzels are making me thirsty?
I can see why you saved that for this late in the game here. That doesn't make any sense.
Is he saying that he's eating the cards because he thinks they're pretzels? I wasn't quite sure where that was going. So, follow up next week. From LSU Tiger Collector 65. Oh, I meant to put this first.
Should we
Damn it.
Tip for the show?
Should we open up for tips? Yeah, just 20. We'll set the percentages to 80, 90, and 99.
Percentage of what?
0, because the show's free.
Free
tip. Can we charge a tip for the Card Ladder subscription? Is that just raise your price?
I've joked about that with Josh before, like at the end of like the customer service email, like I would like put, instead of putting like a survey, it's like, don't forget to tip your customer service person.
Amit says it was a Seinfeld reference. All right.
Oh.
Thank you, Amit. Before I need to get to this question. God, I meant to put this up front. This should have gotten its own category. From LSU Tiger Collector 65. Will there be a pre-national bump for shit beasts and or crypto dick butts?
You wanted to lead the show with this? Go ahead. Show the graph.
All right, hold on. Let me get the graph. Where? Oh, here it is. Wow, I was able to find it this time a lot easier than usual. Here it is. There it is. There's the graph. It's funny. They actually have the graph for both of them together.
That's crazy. You posted it to your story.
There's a graph for the whole category.
You posted it to your story, right? The actual graph.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, it was just like it was really hard to see any white space underneath the line because it was just so close to zero.
Yes.
The scale was off because it started at like $1 billion and then it went to like 50 cents or whatever.
Exactly.
Well,
all right.
One more. Hold on. As always, the solution to tipping is from The Office. Here we go.
Let's go.
If someone for a job I'm capable of doing myself. I can deliver food. I can drive a taxi. I can and do cut my own hair. I did, however, tip my urologist because I am unable to pulverize my own kidney stones. Yep.
There you go. He tips his urologist.
That settles it. All right. Just make sure there wasn't any quick little questions I could squeeze in here. No, I think that's gonna have to be it. Didn't get to about 20 of these, but try again next week.
20?
Yeah.
Maybe if our tips went a little higher, we'd get through these questions.
Maybe if you tipped, your question would be asked first.
That sounds like a really awesome program.
Yep. That's a great program. Let's get those tips going. All right. What happened to Vinny?
Vinny Slabarino?
Yeah.
What happened to Cards and Candy?
Those guys were both MVP for a period of time.
Maybe he doesn't enjoy the show anymore.
He could still ask a question. He could just say, "I'm not enjoying the show lately, but..."
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Oh, well, maybe he's an IP auto guy.
Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully he's okay.
You guys are shitting on him. Maybe
we would never shit on Vinny. I just said he was one of the MVPs. All right.
Instagram Live needs a tip feature. Come on, Zuckerberg, you fucking greedy bitch.
Yeah.
Do you realize like the fee that
he would take 30% of those?
Yeah, he would take like more fees than eBay on their work, like their mastermind day.
But he would take a tip on our tip.
Yeah, at least 50%.
What a joke!
As if Zuckerberg's tip isn't big enough already.
He's got a bunker to build in Hawaii.
All right, let's go. Pick a title, Tom. We have 11 options.
All right, that's good.
First up, numb to one of ones. Second up, wear comfy shoes.
With the little note emoji.
Yeah, that's good. When there's an obvious emoji accompaniment, that helps.
It does.
Trading diseases.
What is that?
That's what happens when you're at the National. If you're trying to not have FOMO, just imagine everybody there trading diseases.
Trading diseases. So, like, I give you mine and you give me yours?
Yes. Yep. Generous streak for Michael Jordan. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
A good firm tip.
That
We've talked about tips in a few different contexts.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, a good firm tip.
Oh, that's because of the pen and now because of the tipping.
Yep. With what emoji? A pen?
Yes. Well, you said something about a tip, and I was like, yes, the pen does have a good firm tip.
Yes, it does. Consolidation pushback.
Just like...
That's funny. There's a pushback for everything. The Walmart of cards. Raining on parades. Scoop me. little ice cream emoji.
Yeah, why don't we get the scoops? That's bullshit.
Conditions apply.
Companies don't give us the scoop because they're like, you guys are just gonna make fun of it on crossover.
Right. What would we do with the scoop if we had a scoop? I mean, I don't want the scoop.
Conditions apply. We'd forget about it. We wouldn't even scoop
Yeah,
it.
usually I write them afterwards and I say, oops, we missed this before crossover.
Yeah. No thank you on scoops. A scoop is just kind of like a way of a scoop is just the announcement before the announcement. And then the last one we have, round up a penny.
What was the tip one again?
Good firm tip.
And then Christina's workshopping all the emojis that you could use for that.
Okay. That's quite a few there.
I think that the credit card and the pen locked down is my favorite.
Agreed.
A dual emoji?
Yeah.
Yep.
For the first time ever?
Yeah.
I think we're ready for it. Yeah, we had, because like when you read it, I was like, dang, that's actually 2 things tonight. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, like, the people who listen and only get to the pen will be like, what's the credit card for?
Easy.
Yep.
I love that.
And
I think
listen to the rest.
I think you do them in chronological order too.
I agree.
Pen then credit card. Yeah.
Yep. That's the order of the show.
I love when a plan comes together.
We didn't have to vote or anything. It worked itself out.
It did. Sometimes it's just obvious.
Are we back for Friday, or are you guys?
Yeah.
Because we got one more before National.
Yep, one more before National.
We have to end each show saying we might be back.
We may or may not be back next week.
CY Card Ladder is the most respected sports card analytics app on the market. We have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history. Easily find recent comps and get a better estimate what your cards are worth. CY Card Ladder is the most trusted and the most reliable sports card analytics app on the market. We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors. Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder, constantly innovating. Try it for free. CY Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data. Card Ladder, we're just getting started.